Can you tell me more about where the name SirSaxy comes from?
I honestly don't remember. It's just something I came up with at one point and started just using it in all kinds of stuff. Different accounts and all that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And then just stuck with it. That was just like my name for whatever platform I was on. And then just ran with it. And then it made sense as far as like my music and stuff I put out to just use that as like my stage name. So
Yeah. You've performed with different kinds of saxophones too, like the electric saxophone and the which I haven't actually seen one in person before. It's pretty interesting.
Well, that was basically a solution to an issue I had, which was like I couldn't play my actual saxophone inside an apartment, so I didn't have anywhere to practice. I was going to like parking lots and stuff in Atlanta, but then everybody's got security now and charges for parking. So that was basically my solution for one, practicing indoors, but then two, it just kind of extended itself into VR because I was able to then perform digitally and then just port my audio into the virtual reality space. So it was a nice, like, convenient thing being able to have that and to use it to perform, because otherwise, I mean, I don't really know how I would have accomplished that. But yeah, merging tech.
I know we were talking about this earlier about trying to get sheet music viewable in VR.
Right. I find myself a lot of times being like the one person I know who's trying to like do this particular thing. Because a lot of what I'm trying to do is very specific to what I want to do. But that said, a lot of times the musicians and people like that are afterthoughts when it comes to these platforms. Those are the kinds of things like you have to build in order to make the space ready for those kinds of people to be in here. So I don't use sheet music that much because I oftentimes play by ear, and I play a lot of music that most likely there isn't any sheet music out there for it. And then I'm also playing a lot of things from memory, which is something I've done since like growing up playing in church where we didn't have music written. Everything was memorized. Being in the HBC marching band, learning dozens of songs, and everything's memorized. So like sheet music, even though I can read sheet music, it's always been like unnecessary for the most part. That said, though, when I do want to use it for things that like are a little bit more, things that are lengthy, more complex, like jazz and that kind of stuff, there isn't anything out there that allows me to look at sheet music and flip the pages as I go. So that would be something I would like to see. There are specific challenges when it comes to playing an instrument that haven't been addressed, which are like your hands are occupied by your instrument. And so how do you do other things when your hands are occupied, right? And another thing is levels. So going back to the music performance, the audio stuff in Alt Space was a huge issue for a long time because it was like, all right, there's echo. How do you solve that? Is my audio coming through? And how do I know if it's coming through? Maybe my audio levels aren't good. How do I know how loud I am? So there are a lot of different components to it that are very hard to figure out. And there are so many different components in the chain of it. And you might play music from your computer, but then you have to use an audio interface for my synthesizer. But then I have to run all of that into a plugin in the browser. Then that might go to a server. That might go to Alt. So there are so many different components in there. You have to learn how to use each component, and then each one is going to have its own little idiosyncrasies that you got to figure out, like what, how to set things and configure things. And so it's a lot, and it'd be nice if there was if that whole thing was simplified where, all right, we built this thing for musicians to be able to perform, and here's a straightforward way to do it. And then the other side of that is for people who want to do sheet music. If they had a way to actually read music in the headset and perform that way. And I'd say like the last thing too is audio sync over distance. If there's a way to perform with people who aren't co-located in time, that would be a huge one as well. And then I feel like some of the platforms have kind of taken a step back from Alt Space because, I mean, that's just the performance component. because you still also have to think about the event component, you know.
Mm.
Having the like host space where you can be on amplify and having the ability to like mute your audience, being able to have, you know, level setting of your audio. If the music's playing from this, can I lower it for myself? I mean, there are all these different nuanced things to the experience being an enjoyable one. And if somebody's not like really thinking about all these different components to the experience, I mean, just even spatial, like you go in and somebody's being loud, or the music's too loud, like something as simple as being able to turn your environment volume down for yourself, like, I mean, it's a game changer. And it's a shame that that kind of thing that was that far along is just kind of like gone away, and then there's nothing else that picks up where that left off and is running with it.
Thanks for watching the video portion of this interview with SirSaxy. Be sure to check out the full written interview and subscribe at glitchesvr.substack.com. You can also check out more of SirSaxy's music at sirsaxy.com.